All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the fourth part of the show, we are going to talk about the Tennessee Titans, their trio of wide receivers, my expectations for them going into 2024. So I wanted to address some of the comments that were made by DeAndre Hopkins recently regarding the trio. And he talked about outcompeting Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. And this is what Hopkins said: I'm always competing, and this is via the team's website. Anytime we get anyone who's a number one wide receiver, my mindset is to go out there and outcompete them, outdo them. I've always had that mindset, Kobe Bryant being my favorite athlete of all time. Anytime I get the chance to compete against anyone, I'm trying to outcompete them, trying to outdo them. That's only going to make the team better. And Hopkins is entering his 12th season in the NFL. He's a five-time Pro Bowler, and he's coming off of his seventh 1,000-yard receiving campaign. And the Titans, they made some additions this offseason, bringing in Ridley and then recently bringing in Tyler Boyd. And this is what Hopkins also said. He said, I think this is one of the best wide receiving groups I've had the chance to play with on paper. Obviously, I could come up here and say a bunch, but we haven't played a game yet, so we'll see how it goes once we hit the field. We have to be on the same page with Will. We have to know what he is thinking, what he is doing, and be able to take his criticism and him being able to take our criticism. It doesn't happen just on the field. You have to build that bond. It's up to us to go out and help him be the best quarterback he can be. And look, the Titans, they surrounded Will Levis with talent. Now, these guys are a little bit older. So if they did this back in, 2018, 2019, this would be, arguably the best wide receiving trio in the NFL. I mean, I have to go back and look, at some of the trios from 2018, 2019, but this would be right up there because DeAndre Hopkins, at one point was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And Calvin Ridley's been a productive wide receiver. Tyler Boyd has been a productive wide receiver. Now, it's not like going into 2024, these guys are, coming off of down years. Calvin Ridley still had over 1,000 yards receiving. He had 8 touchdowns, 76 receptions, and this is basically missing almost 2 years of football. And he was able to post over 1,000 yards. Well, really, he got over 1,000 yards, but only by 16 yards. Had 8 touchdowns. And like I said, basically missed 2 years. And then DeAndre Hopkins, looking at his stats, like I said, last year, 75 receptions. He had 1,057 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns. And the previous season with Arizona, he had 64 receptions, 717 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then Tyler Boyd, we'll look at his stats. So he had 67 receptions, 667 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Now, with these 3 receivers, I think for me, and I think a lot of other people, Ridley and Hopkins are the top 2 receivers. Tyler Boyd is going to be the third option. But I think all 3 of these guys will make an impact this year. And you still got some other receivers on the team like Treylon Burks, who D-Hop backed up recently. Because he was supposed to be A.J. Brown's replacement, and that really just hasn't really panned out. But, yeah, this trio I think could be successful. Again, another, Ridley could maybe be even put up better numbers than he did in 2023. Now, I think, so DeAndre Hopkins, I think, is 31. Ridley's going to be 30 or already is. And I think Tyler Boyd is 30. I just want to double check really quick because I actually have Ridley and D-Hop on one of my dynasty teams. And I'm kind of upset about it just because now they're both on the same team. But yeah, so D-Hop is 31. Ridley's 29. And then Tyler Boyd, I think Tyler Boyd is 30. but I could be just let me just double check. Yeah, Tyler Boyd's 29. So yeah, they're all going to be 30. But I mean, I don't think any of these guys have fallen off a cliff. Like D Hop's 31, but still posted over 1,000 yards. I think these guys are still good. Again, it's really all going to come down to I think what Will Levis can do in year two, and they surrounded him with talent. They also brought in Tony Pollard coming out of the backfield. I know people aren't as high on him as they have been in the past, but maybe another, like I said, or I've been saying, another year removed from the injury that he suffered in the playoffs a couple years ago, maybe you'll see more of the Tony Pollard from 2022. But I just wanted to go over Will Levis' stats. So, had 1,800 yards passing, 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, and an 84.2 quarterback rating. So, in the games that he played in, I mean, his debut was the best. He had 4 touchdowns in that game. He went 19 to 29, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. His quarterback rating was 130.5. Like, that was a solid debut. And you're thinking, wow, the Titans might have found their guy. And then, then the following week against the Steelers, his quarterback rating was 66.4, 53.3 against the Bucks. It's just, it really, he's been hit or miss. Against the Dolphins, though, that comeback win, he went 23 of 38, 327 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. But yeah, but we'll see. I mean, now you got an offensive-minded head coach in Brian Callahan. I think there's no excuses though. Like, if he goes out there and doesn't have a good year, well, I don't know. Then the Titans might have to look for a new quarterback. But them investing in playmakers, and also they drafted a tackle. They're surrounding Will Levis with the necessary tools to be successful. So he's got to go out there and prove it. He's got a big arm. I mean, you see the talent, but you got to see if he can put it all together now. And you're playing in a division that's competitive, filled with young quarterbacks: Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, C.J. Stroud. You got 2 other guys going into their second year. Trevor Lawrence is the veteran of the group, basically. So, got to go out there and prove that you guys belong. Now, I had the Titans ranked last in the division, but we'll see. Like I said, on paper, I like their offense, but I don't know how that's going to... Is that going to equal to them winning football games? I mean, we'll go through their schedule when we get to it, but like I said, we will have to wait and see on how it goes. But I mean, and what D Hop said, trying to outcompete them. I mean, they're trying to bring out the best in each other, and I think they're going to benefit from playing with each other. Because, like I said, all these guys could still play. So I think they could. They're gonna have solid seasons. I mean, I think Tyler Boyd's still gonna kind of finish around like what he has had. I don't think he's gonna be the leading receiver. I mean, but I could be wrong. Like maybe Will Levis, builds a good rapport with him, and Tyler Boyd puts up the best numbers out of these 2 guys. I mean, I think out of the three, sorry, again, like I said, I'm not 100% doing the show. I think out of the 3, I think Ridley probably puts up the best numbers out of the 3. And then you got D Hop and then Tyler Boyd. But also, like, how are they going to be running the football? Because if Tony Pollard turns back into the Tony Pollard from 2022, that adds another dimension to this offense. So we'll see. But let me know what you guys think about the Titans. How do you see them doing in 2024? How do you see this trio of wide receivers doing? Um, Let me know in the comments. But with that being said, we're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, we will talk about another receiver for the Green Bay Packers, and that is another wide receiver playing for the Packers. We'll talk about Christian Watson and just how he's approaching this offseason, trying to overcome some of the leg injuries that he has suffered over the course of his short career, particularly hamstring injuries. That is what we will discuss when we come back from our final break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.